Recently, we talked about how to balance our 9 to 5 and our photography. There was one point that I had made in that video that I think got a little bit lost, and I wanted to expand on that a little bit with you. So, take a look at this photo. Who is this photo for? Is it for you? Or how about you? Or maybe it's for you over there. How do you find your audience? And how do you find your audience as a photographer, and why is it important? And is it even important at all? This is something I think a lot of people struggle with on a regular basis, and it's not just in photography. This is going to be a little bit of a winding narrative, but I have to ask a couple of questions, a basic set of questions, if you will. And it comes down to, who are my people? Who is in my circle, and what opinions matter and which ones don't? So with a show of hands, let me know if you're my people. Oh wait, I can't actually see you, but the likes and comments can help show that. A subscribe would also help as well, and I do appreciate that. So now, how does this relate to photography, and how come knowing who your audience is can be so challenging? We all start as beginners, and we all start as beginners when diving into things like hobbies and jobs and careers and even relationships. There's always that awkward start of everything, whether it be the new job jitters, or the nervousness felt when you finally ask somebody out for that first date. Hobbies and art are absolutely no different in that respect. Although I have to admit, I wasn't really nervous when I picked up a camera originally to take pictures for the first time, because I think I was probably a little too young to really have a concept of what the meaning of what I was doing was outside of, oh, look at this. So when coming back to photography as I got older, there was a certain amount of trepidation that had come with it, not because it was hard or because I wanted to do a good job, but it was because I knew that I was going to suck at it. And I mean, really be bad at it. But I did it anyway. And why? Because I remembered the feeling that I had as a kid when clicking away rolls of film with my father and feeling that connection with what I was doing and who I was doing it with. So fast forward a bunch of years, and with a lot of practice and experimentation, I had become a pretty fair photographer in my own right. I had a decent but small portfolio of images that had been critiqued well. I had shown them in a gallery, and even sold a few prints on occasion. But there was still something that was missing. Still something that wasn't quite right, and I couldn't really put my finger on it at the time. And then one day it clicked. Pun intended. It all come down to one question, or like I said, one set of questions. Who am I doing this for? Who am I making this picture for? This, of course, led me deeper into the realms of things like social media, with Facebook groups, Instagram pages and shares, this platform, that platform, looking for someone that would like my photo as I pretty much sat there triumphantly saying, oh, look at this cool picture that I took. And the likes I got, sometimes half a dozen, sometimes 100. It varied, but I felt like I was actually reaching people. But even then, I still felt like it wasn't enough and that I was still missing something. Until one day it hit me, and boy did it hit me. I was in a gallery that I had popped into with the intent of asking about showing my work, and while looking around feeling a little bit overwhelmed and in awe of some of the images and other artwork on display, I had a moment, and I had the feeling that I wasn't good enough to show my work there. I was slightly discouraged while I continued to saunter about and look in amazement at some of the work that was displayed there, when somebody had walked up to me and asked if I needed assistance. I had said no and admitted that I was a little envious of how amazing the work was in this gallery. I was met with a little bit of a snicker. As it turned out, the person that said that to me said that they felt the same way. But the image that we were looking at was one of their favorites. And at that point, they introduced themselves to me as the photographer that had taken that particular photo that we were looking at. And it clicked for me, which of course turned into questions. The conversation from me changed into other questions about things like camera settings, whether it was on film or digital, whether they used a tripod or not, so on and so forth, which the photographer all answered very confidently, very happily, but then the tables had turned. He'd asked just one compelling question of me. How does this photo make you feel? It was a fairly simple photo of a body of water, a little bit of chop on the water, some fog on the shore, and a couple of chairs positioned like they were looking out over the water at the land opposite of where the chairs were. The photo had given me a feeling of comfort, a feeling of relaxation, almost like home, but not. Familiar, but not. The photographer replied that he had gotten the same feeling from the scene, and that's why he had taken the photo. He had said that he didn't care if he was going to make any money on it, or even whether or not it would be a famous photo, didn't give that any mind at all, even if he was going to print it at all. He had taken the photo simply because of how it made him feel in that moment. Now, of course, Throughout conversation, come to find out, the photo did look familiar to me because it was taken somewhere that I did know. And it was someplace that I had actually been to and sat at. But it was at that moment that I realized that I was approaching my photography all wrong. I could take a photo that was technically correct in every single way, whether it be a perfect exposure, the right composition, the right light, but if it didn't feel like anything to me, it wasn't truly created out of my soul. Now I know I'm getting deep, but when I go back to my original question, who is my audience and who is this photo for? The answer, as it turns out, is me. So the point that I'm trying to make is take your photos and videos for you, make them meaningful and have a story to tell with them. When you do that, it pours a piece of you into that image and makes you a part of the story and a part of that image that you've captured. All my popular photos on social media have all been ones that have started with a story or started with, I love this image. So of course, the moral of the story is create art for you. Make photos for you, make your art for you, capture the scene, but also capture the moment. Be willing to enjoy that moment as well. I think sometimes we take that for granted, and maybe this is also a reminder to not take it for granted. Enjoy those moments. Be okay with just enjoying the moment. And with that, I want you to tell me about some of your favorite moments as a photographer or as an artist. So I think I'm going to start gearing some of my social media and everything to share photos that go along with a moment that I love. So I really would love to hear your moments as well. Thank you very much for coming along with me. I really do appreciate the support. If you gave me a like or a subscribe before, again, that is also very much appreciated. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again next week.